with that, Coach Davie, welcome to Game Week.
Thank you. And as Frank was talking, I was thinking about my last game. And it seems like just yesterday we were playing down in West Lafayette at Purdue. It actually ended up being a game that was canceled because of 9/11. Joe Tiller was the head coach at Purdue. Kyle Orton was the freshman quarterback. Taylor Stubblefield was a receiver playing in that game, and it was a dogfight. I mean, we intercepted a pass, ran it back for a touchdown. We ran a kickoff back for a touchdown. I think we had about 160 yards total offense, but beat Purdue in my last game in West Lafayette. And one thing I remember standing on that sidelines, there was a whiskey bottle that flew out of the stands and went right over the top of my head and landed on the field. I'm still trying to figure out if it was a Notre Dame fan or a Purdue fan that threw that bottle at me. But yeah, it's been a long time, and at some point we have to go play. You always want more practice time, particularly when you're, first time starting out with a group of new guys and new coaches. You always want more time. You don't think you're prepared, but let's be honest. It's time for us to go play, see what kind of team we put on that field. I couldn't be more excited. Our guys have done what we've asked them to do by and large. I'm really anxious to see them go play. I went with the coaches. We talked this morning. We actually have, it's a unique blend. You've heard me talk about our roster. On the youth side of it, we're going to have 12 first-year players that start in some capacity on Saturday. That's special teams, that's offense, defense, but there's 12 players that have never stepped on a field here that will start. We have 3 more first-time players that will play in the first half, regardless of what the score is. So that's 15 first-year players that are going to play. We actually have 5 walk-ons that are going to start in some capacity. Jared Adcock will start at guard as a true freshman. Rashad Rainey will start at Sam Backer as a first-year player. So it's exciting from that standpoint just to see some young guys. Fortunately, we do have some older players. First of all, B.R. Holbrook, hopefully everything's okay. He was symptom-free yesterday, coming back from his first practice. He's going to practice today again in full pads. We do have some older guys as well. So, I've done a bunch of talking, a lot of philosophical stuff. Let's go see what we have. It's going to be a long process. I mentioned our team, a couple goals. I expect us to be the most improved team in college football. Take that how you want to take it, whether it's this overall schedule, whether it's statistically, or whether just the way we go about our business and what people on campus and in this community think about us. I think it's a realistic goal to be the most improved team in college football. And that doesn't necessarily mean the record's the most important thing. The second thing, I want this to be the best year these seniors have ever had. And the third thing, I want to see us improve and get better. And that's not easy. You look at the youth on our team, you look at our depth situation, you look at our early schedule. If we can improve and we can get better as this year goes on, and we can do those things I just said, we'll have taken a successful first step. But let's go find out. I wish I could tell you exactly what to expect. I don't know myself, but I think you're going to see a bunch of guys and coaches that are anxious to get out there and play on what I think is a beautiful playing facility. It's amazing. You guys have been around here a long time. I'm new. But just to sit in my office and look out at this stadium now, how different it looks with that new artificial surface in there. And just the reaction our players had when we first got back from Ruidoso to see what that field looks like now, we have no excuses. We have no excuses, so let's go play. So I'm sure you guys have some questions. Anything I could answer, I'd be happy to.
Coach Davie, J.R. Oppenheimer from David Lobo.
Hey, J.R.
Given the fact that it's been such a long time in between your 2 coaching jobs, how do you gauge your own personal level of excitement? The butterflies or anything quite like that?
No, I think, honestly, I could answer that by saying I'm enjoying the process. I don't worry so much about the results as maybe I did when I first did this as a head coach. And maybe that sounds funny. it's enjoying the process. I know it's going to be a long journey. I know we can fix whatever problems we have. I think sometimes when you do this the first time, it's all about what's on that scoreboard in the end. And I know this is an important game as you look at our schedule and who we play after this. But I also know that there's a lot of football left, not only this season, but in the next several seasons. So I'm truly just enjoying the process and looking forward to just kind of finding out what our guys are all about, how our coaches coach, when the lights come on. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited about it.
What kind of challenge is Southern going to present?
You look at Southern, it's their third year in the program under Stump Mitchell, so they've got some guys that have been experienced in their systems. They have a quarterback that's played a lot of football. They have a wide receiver that's outstanding, a left offensive tackle. They have a new defensive coordinator, but he was on the staff last year. Just basically they have more experience than we have in their systems. And this, the first games of the year in particular, you worry a lot more about what you do and how you execute than your opponent. I think it's especially true this year with us being our first time out there together. So I have a lot of respect for Southern, but I'm a lot more worried about the Lobos and how the Lobos execute.
Are they scripting the first 10 or 15 plays on offense?
We'll script. I hope we can go that long on the script that nothing, all of a sudden there's some dramatic situation we have to adapt to. But, yeah, we always do that.
How did Holbrook do yesterday in practice?
Great. I joked with Bob DeBest we should give our quarterbacks a couple days off. BR, I tell you, he's got arm strength. He has a quick release. I thought he was outstanding yesterday. Now, it's always the day back after that day that's the most important. But he was symptom-free after practice. The conditioning part of it's a bit of a concern. But we are going to turn him loose today and let him go a little more in full pads. But he was really good yesterday.
Do you expect him to be able to play every snap on Saturday?
No, I think we'll probably play. Cole Gauchi will get in the game. Whether we play a third quarterback, I'm not sure. But I look for Cole Gauchi to play one way or the other.
Bob, scheme-wise, offensively, what do you expect from Southern?
Southern's going to throw it. You look at Southern, they have 4 of their 5 offensive linemen back, although 1 tackle's injured. Both quarterbacks are back. Their top 4 wide receivers are back. They're a pass-first kind of team. I look for them to give us a lot of 4 wides, drop back and throw the ball. You particularly look at our depth situation in the secondary. The loss yesterday of Tabana. That's what I'd do if I was them. I'd come in there and throw it and find out if we were the 120th ranked team in pass efficiency defense last year, which is dead last. So I expect them to come in there and throw it. Yeah.
You're back at it again. Can you convey is it an old feeling, a familiar feeling, or is it a brand new feeling?
No,
back in the fire?
To be honest, it's exactly the same. It really is, from the standpoint of it's the same problems. The last time I did this, the Tuesday before the first game or Monday before the first game, I had an off-the-field issue just like you have here. It's the same issues. It's the same concern that, high schools play exhibition games, NFL plays preseason games. We just walk out there and play for real. So it's the same exact feeling, other than just enjoying the process a little bit more. I know that whatever happens Saturday, that's just the first step in a real long process. So maybe it's a little more confidence. Maybe it's having been through it a few more times. I know whatever happens, we can fix. So let's let it rip.
Coach, what are some of your experiences from Notre Dame that you're able to transition in terms of your philosophy here at UNL?
Everything. Not only at Notre Dame, but the last 10 years in broadcasting. I've always taken pride in getting the team ready to play. I noticed we haven't won an opener in 6 years. We haven't, so just everything. That's a pretty broad-based question. So hopefully I'm a better coach. Let's find out, right?
Coach Jarrell Presley starting at the field.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch Jarrell Presley. He's had really a good camp. DeMarcus Rogers is back. I think he'll be 100%, but he hasn't taken a lot of reps. Casey Carrier, I don't think will play. I think David and I will play. I know David and I is starting on some special teams, and he'll probably get a chance to carry the ball. But Jarrell Presley's earned the right to carry it. I think he's a pretty dynamic guy with his hands on the ball.
Coach, can you elaborate at all on Savannah's suspension, what played into that, and just how that affects your depth?
No, I said yesterday, I mean, he came in to see me. I appreciated him being honest. He told me a lot of the circumstances that led up to it. But there was a bottom line deal when he told me what had happened. He was suspended. I didn't need to see the police report or I appreciated all the circumstances he told me. And there are a lot of circumstances. But there's a bottom line reality to what he did. So he was suspended from the team. He's not the first guy. He won't be the last guy.
How do you keep all the guys focused? I mean, school's starting right now, heading into Saturday. How do you keep their mind on football?
I think that's pretty easy. I think because, if you don't like the results of the way it's gone, you've got a chance now to change them. So I hope our players realize they have a chance to be 1-0 for the first time in 7 years. So I hope they're focused on the target.
Coach,
And
I'm sorry.
that's okay.
A team's never been let out on the field under a New Mexico flag. I think this is the
Really?
first time. Yeah, I've been watching Lobo football since 1962. How are the players thinking about it, and how did you come up with this idea?
I'll tell you this, Jared Magnet, I told them last Tuesday that he had been awarded a scholarship. It was a unanimous standing ovation. I mean, that room erupted. Jared Magnet's a tremendously respected player here. As I said, we'll have 5 walk-ons start Saturday in some capacity. I'm excited for him. I know his family's excited about it. Rio Rancho. He's going to lead our team out. There's actually an L that takes us to the bench, but he's going to continue right down to where I think the Red Menace sits down there. He's going to put that New Mexico flag in a holder, and he's going to go over and meet his family in the corner of the end zone. I think it's a tremendous honor. I think, he represents everything I would want in any player here, particularly a walk-on player, and he's got himself a scholarship. So I hope he's the model to follow. I think it's a pretty neat idea. I think it represents what this program can be and what it should be moving forward. A bunch of guys that may not have started out being the most highly recruited, but, end up being darn good players that, and we can win here with.
Bob, when you say Cole's going to play, would that have been the case regardless of VR's?
Yeah. Yeah, we were going to play Cole every game, basically. We're going to try it. And I don't want to back myself in the corner, and say that. But the idea was for Cole Gauchi to play. It's a long season, 13 straight weeks. We need to get some experience at quarterback. And the reality is no one else has taken a snap on this field except BR. So, the plan would be the plan regardless. He may play a little bit more now depending on BR's conditioning. I don't know for sure.
Don't you know how when you were broadcasting, you said you learned different things, just watching other coaches that you would add to what you're doing? Did you learn anything about opening day or anything about that?
Yeah, opening day is a free-for-all. No matter where you are, the best laid plans, as calm, as collected as you expect everyone to be, all of a sudden you get out there and that ball's ready for play, it turns into controlled chaos. And the ones that react to the negatives the best, because it's never going to go as planned, the ones that play the best technique and stay together usually end up winning. It's not as much about X and O's. It's about just, how you handle adversity that comes your way in the first game, because it's hard to script what's going to happen. And you guys have seen it so many times. Like a lot of times, bowl games are like this too, but opening games, there's so much emotion and everybody's so excited that one thing can take the air out of the balloon. If the other team runs the kickoff back or you fumble the first play. I remember the last year I was a head coach, we played at Nebraska, our opener, Saturday night. And they had played 2 games. We hadn't played a game. We go out there, unbelievable atmosphere, national television. We have a deep snapper who was an unbelievable guy. His nickname was Cheeks because he had big old cheeks, and he was a walk-on, was a great deep snapper. He snapped it over our punter's head right off the bat. Our whole air came out of the balloon. Our whole team kind of discombobulated. So you got to be careful that one grenade doesn't take everybody down in the first game because the atmosphere is so You know, again, a lot of things can happen. Just prepare everybody to be able to react to it in a positive way.
Coach, how many players are you planning on using on defensive line once you rotation?
Probably all of them. You know, we got a lot of young guys that are going to end up playing a lot of football before this year's over. You know, I think Aqua will play and play early. I think Twitty will be the next one in the game. For sure, Aqua and Twitty, the two freshmen, will play and play fairly early in the game.
If you win a coin toss, do you want the ball or you want to be on defense?
No, we're taking the ball. We've already talked about that. You know, if we win, we're taking the ball. If they win, they'll probably defer and we'll take the ball. So there's a good chance, unless they win and take the ball, you're going to see our offense out there right away. So we'll find out how good the best is, right? All those press clippings. He looked good the last time he was here in those orange uniforms with Sam Houston. We'll see how good he looks in that Lobo stuff now.
Any other questions?
Coach, you spent some time sort of tempering expectations throughout the preseason. Do you have a confident team?
No. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I have no agenda doing that. It's like, I mean, this guy's, you know, he's doing this or there's some agenda. I'm just being honest. I mean, look what our record has been. Look how many players have left the program. You know, look at those statistics in depth from last year, whether it's passing efficiency, special teams, go right down the list. I'm just being as honest as I can be. You know, I think we have a team that feels pretty good about itself right now. I think they're anxious to play. A lot will happen the first time we get hit in the mouth. A lot will happen the first time something goes wrong of how we react to it. But, you know, based on the circumstances, I think we have as a confident a team as we could have, because I know they've worked their butt off. And they know they haven't bluffed their way through it or pretended their way through it. So based on everything that's happened, we're about as confident as we could be going in the game. But there's no disillusion here that, you know, we've got some swagger to us. I mean, we need to have some success.
Coach, you talked about Cole Gauchi for a minute. How does he look in practice?
He looks better sometimes in the game, I think. By that I mean our game-like drills and our game-like scrimmages, and he does in practice. He's like a lot of young guys that overthinks things, and I think that causes him to hold on to the ball a little bit and try to be perfect in the throwing game. And sometimes in the game when he just has to let it go, he throws it better. I think he's a better runner than thrower. I think he's a tremendous leader. He's a better runner than thrower right now. And he'll need to progress as a thrower to be a complete quarterback for us to win with. But there's some things he does right now that we feel really good about.
Do you have a planned amount of snaps for him on Saturday?
No. Okay, guys?
One more question, Coach. In terms of the discipline, you have had a couple guys get into trouble, and I'm not going to have you go into explain those
Sure.
whole situations again. But I am curious what your definition of discipline is, which I would assume has to be more than just going to class and following the rules.
You know,
And then the second question I have is that message actually being instilled into the players?
Sure. I mean, discipline to me is doing the things you don't necessarily like to do, so you get to do the things you love to do. And what price are you willing to pay to do those things you don't necessarily like to do? But if you don't do them, you're not going to play. And just pick up ESPN.com today or look back over since the last game was played, the last bowl game, and look at all the different things that have happened. It's not unique to here. As a matter of fact, we've had really very few when you look at the totality. Things are going to happen. It's how we react to it when it happens. That's what I take pride in. I'm not naive enough to think you're going to eliminate all problems. All I can do is control what do we do as soon as we find out. And that's something I've always been proud of. I try to be fair. I try to do everything I would do as if I was a father, but I will, the moment I know about it, I will address it. And I'll address it in front of our entire team. I also know moving forward, you're always going to get second guessed, which is fair, on the amount of time if there's a suspension, when you let the player back, if you let the player back. I'm comfortable making all those decisions, and I'll make them on what's best for our team. But I've always been kind of proud of the discipline of our team, but I'm not naive to think we won't have problems. Is that fair?
Sounds good.
All right? All right, guys.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
guys.
Remind-